So there's a conversation going on about reading cards, and I always jump in whenever I hear about keywords. And when reading from books, because a lot of times we're not told enough about what our intuition is and how to use our intuition. And so the Fool is a good example of it. We hear the word fool, and what does that mean to us? It means somebody who's walking into folly, somebody who is making bad decisions. Maybe it's, can be childlike. And so it can be one of two things. It could be either you're walking into a disaster. So here we have the Fool. And remember, this was not the original Fool. This is the one that Arthur Waite came up with Pamela Coleman Smith. And this happy-go-lucky guy. But I mean, what if the devil's behind him? Well, that means that this is the Fool. This is somebody who has got their eyes closed to an obvious situation. But if you're reading the books and you're using keywords, I mean, let's just jump right to Arthur Waite here, where it says, with light step, as if earth and its trembles had little power to restrain him, a young man in gorgeous vestments pauses at the brink of a precipice amongst the great heights of the world. He Okay. That's not going to help me read the tarot. So then if we go into, this is a really good book here, learning the tarot. But again, they give you the keywords, and I'm sure that, beginning, spontaneity, faith, and apparent folly. So you memorize that for the Fool, and it still doesn't tell you. Let's tell a story with the Fool. Let's start with the original one. So here's the original Fool. This is the one that the original cards were based on. Lamette. This is a Fool. This is somebody who may not quite be all there, which means when we're in a situation where we're just not thinking clearly, where maybe we are just walking into some type of problems or issues or something like that. So with this Fool, and notice the direction he's facing. He's facing forward, so he's just walking into whatever's going on. So he may be walking into something negative, and this is where we don't have control of our emotions and those things that harm ourselves or others, right? Or he could be, just have faith because he's walking into the sun. So the keywords are special and nice and everything else, but we want to tell stories with this, right? So I'm just going to grab a card here. So here we have somebody who they've got a coin. It's a page. It's when we're learning something, it's like, you know what? You're going to learn it. Just have faith that things are going to work out, because the Fool doesn't have any cares or concerns or anything like that. Look at him. And he's walking into something positive. Just as easy, though, we can say that, again, we have this young person here. He's young and immature and may not know that he doesn't know anything. And he's walking into disaster. Because that's what a Fool does. This has nothing to do with keywords. So what is the Fool? The Fool is whatever the card that you're reading, whatever the deck you're using says it is. So this Fool's looking into the future. This Fool's looking into the past. So if we let's pull out the disaster card for him. So he's so focused on the past that he's not realizing that he's walking into danger. So that's being foolish. That is possibly, he's walking off the edge and doesn't even see it. Unless there's a sun here. And it's like, you know what? He doesn't have to worry. It's like, just have faith because things are going to work out. See the story that's being told just by doing that? And that's the whole deal, is that keywords are important for the Fool, but the story is even more important. And so let's do this again. Let's tell a whole story. So I'm just going to grab a card here. We have the Queen of Swords trying to tell him she's being clear-headed. She is, and she can also be emotional about it. It's like, look, really, you need to do this. But here we have this folly. This is the definition of folly here. Because what's he doing? He's not listening. He's got his head pointed up. She's looking straight at him. She's got her left hand, which is offering. She's like, come on, listen to what I'm saying. And he's ignoring her. Absolute folly. But then again, what happens if we do this? You know what? Here's this group here. We have the Five of Wands. They're sitting there battling things out. And you get to step back. This is saying step back, breathe. Be like the Fool. The Fool is not concerned with what's going on with all these people here, because the Fool has his own stick here, but he's got a wand on here and he's looking above the fray, right? And the Fool just knows that no matter what, things are going to work out because we have this card here. So he's got that childlike innocence that says, you know what, I'm just not going to be concerned. See what I mean about not using the keywords, but using a story for the Fool? So how would that work with, for example, a deck that's not the Marseille or one of those? Well, let's go with, here we have this Fool here, and he is so busy banging his drum and singing that he may not realize that disaster is about to crash. So let's see what's going on here. So I'll pull out this deck here. And let's tell a story. With this deck, every deck is different. Using keywords is not going to help. So here we have the Ten of Wands. All this burden and all this stuff is going on. And this person here is like, I'm going to choose to ignore the facts of what's going on, all the stress and all the strain. I'm going to stay home from work, and I'm just not going to deal with it. So I'm going to stay home and I'm going to bang on my drum. But deep down inside, from what he's seeing here, it's like he knows what's going to happen, but he's just to that point, right? But then again, what happens if we have the Sun card with the Fool? Here we have the Six of Cups. And the Fool's foot, one foot is in the past. See how it's pointing there? And one foot is pointed in the future with this particular card. This is somebody who straddles the line. We have the Six of Cups here. And so this is somebody who can relate to something in the past. Maybe there's some friendship that they can rely on. But there's this positive spark that's going to show them, it's like, you know what, just enjoy that innocence of this youth here. Learn from these. Be the Fool. Be childlike. Just relax, because things are going to work out. You've got one foot here, but you're looking forward. And that's what a Fool does, is that they only see what's in front of their nose. And so just trust that childlike innocence that you remember from the Six of Cups. And just allow the light to shine through, because it will work out positively. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But that's how I would read it if I was on the fly. So, the Fool. The Fool is all the keywords that you read. The Fool is folly. The Fool is innocence. The Fool is, I'm going to pull it back up here again. Beginnings, entering a new phase, striking out on a new path, being spontaneous, living in the moment, embracing and accepting your choices, taking the foolish path, trusting the flow. So we pretty much talked about that without looking at a book, because all we did was we just read the card based on the ones around it. So that's the Fool. The Fool can be any of those things, but just instead of keywords, use your intuition. So I hope that helps. And maybe if this is interesting to other people, maybe I'll do a few more cards and we can go through like that. Okay? So again, thank you very much and take care.